Not surprisingly, superannuation was a really significant focus of the report, and I think that just demonstrates the increasing size of the industry and the already systemic importance of the industry to the Australian economy as a whole. So up to a third of the report actually focused on superannuation issues, which was a real contrast to, say, the Wallace report last time around, which really didn't focus on superannuation at all. Lots to talk about in superannuation, but three key themes, I guess, coming out of it were, first of all, something that people have been recognising for a long time is the underdevelopment of the super system when it comes to retirement products and retirement income, and the need to develop some appropriate products and some appropriate regulation to support the development of those products. Secondly, there's a suggestion, and whether perceived or correct, that there was a lack of fee-based competition in the Australian superannuation sector, and that was leading to higher fees and costs, particularly when benchmarked against other economies, similar pensions or superannuation systems. So there's a little bit of talk about why that might be the case and legitimate or other reasons why that might be the case, and what we might be able to do about it in the future. And thirdly, in something that I think is welcomed by a lot of us in the industry, there was a recognition that the regulatory settings in superannuation have probably lacked stability in recent years, and there's been some short-term decision making really about something that's a long-term product, and that we should have an increased long-term focus on the way superannuation works. So hopefully that'll lead to less tinkering with the regulatory settings, but equally at the same time there was a recognition that there were some of the tax settings around super, so particularly the lack of tax in retirement, and also the ability for funds to use imputation credits that were really singled out as something that need to be perhaps looked at in the longer term to shore up the viability of the system as a whole. I think all of those issues are likely to get quite a lot of focus during the next consultation period, and indeed have got quite a lot of press already. I think there's probably been the biggest amount of press in relation to the interim report has been on the super sector. So I think particularly the retirement product side of things, as Michael will speak about, we're really hopeful that we'll see some concrete policy development in that area, and that'll be a real focus. On the other stuff, I think the thing that's got the most press is obviously the focus on fees and costs and the benchmarking against other countries. It's an easy thing to attack, it's an easy headline to write, and so I think we've seen quite a lot of focus on that. Some legitimate, some perhaps not, and there'll be, I think, a lot of submissions made and a lot of discussion in the next phase of the report as to whether or not that was a fair assessment and what really the reasons for that were, and what, if anything, we might be able to do about it, particularly given that the My Super and Stronger Super reforms probably haven't yet had time to play themselves out and really flow through to a fee and cost basis. One other area perhaps that didn't receive as much attention in the report, but I think may get a second run in the second lot of consultations, is the ability of superannuation, the sector, to play a role in the broader Australian economy, given the systemic size of the super industry. We're one of the few countries in the world, I think 4 countries in the world, where the pension industry is larger than the GDP of the country, and the super system now has more assets than the entire market capitalisation of the ASX. So I think that there's the opportunity to have a bit more of a debate about how that pot can be used appropriately, taking into account the role of super in people's individual retirement incomes, but the role that can play in things like everything from the development of the corporate bond market in Australia and making that a deeper pool to the financing of our infrastructure deficit, and how super funds might be able to play a role in that. And I think there's an opportunity there that perhaps wasn't addressed in the interim report that maybe can be played out a little bit more in the next round.